Welcome to my channel. These slides that are rolling by are an indication of some of the things that I cover on a regular basis in my videos. Once you have watched the video, I would appreciate it if you would click the like button and leave a small comment. It's really a big help to the channel. The YouTube logarithm, when it sees that, promotes the channel more and will be more viewers. I would appreciate that very much. Thank you for watching. Well, hello everybody. I'm starting to plan 2021's garden, I guess. Winter's always a dangerous time for me. Lots of time to sit around and think about the garden, and all those thoughts usually end up costing me money. What I'm going to do right now, though, is set up a cracky hydroponics system. Very, very small, cracky hydroponics system. Only holds 6 of the net pots. I've had it for a number of years. I used it as a conventional hydroponic system when I first bought it. The basic difference being that the conventional one has an air stone in it that aerates the nutrient solution, and the cracky system doesn't bother with that and makes it much simpler to use. Also, the little pumps and whatever for the air stones are kind of noisy. I'm going to go with 3 plants here, 3 different kinds: arugula, lettuce, and parsley. And I'm not sure, well, I'm not sure the type of lettuce now, but I'm not sure if it's a curly parsley or a flat leaf parsley. One of my nephews, one of my great nephews, Ethan, gave me a wonderful Christmas gift. You can never go wrong giving a gardener seeds. This garden collection has 15 packages of herbs in it, herb seeds. The arugula came out of it, and so did the parsley. The lettuce are from something else that I just had kicking around here. But it doesn't give you any great definition of what's in it. Like that one there is just mint. Well, what kind of mint? However, I tried the arugula and the parsley and they both grew, so I'm sure I'll try a lot of the other ones too. They were planted the same time. I didn't mark down the date, but 10 days, 2 weeks ago. And the arugula popped up almost immediately. The lettuce was quite a while getting started, and parsley always takes quite a bit of time to germinate. So they're in different stages of development. I don't know if you can see it or not. The roots are coming out through the bottom of the growing medium here on the arugula. So I'm going to set up this cracky system, and then I have a couple of projects in mind for this summer, and I will review those with you. You can tell me what you think of them and give me any suggestions. Right now I'm going to put the nutrients in the water for the cracky system. Well, I'm going to use the general hydroponics nutrients because I already happen to have those. They come in 3 flavors, 3 different formulas. One's called Flora Grow, one Flora Bloom, and one is Flora Micro. And you mix them according to a formula that they provide you with. I found online a mixture for a cracky system using these, and that's what I'm going to be doing. And it goes according to how many gallons of water that you are using. And I have got 2.5 gallons of water in there. It's a 5-gallon container, so the 2.5 gallons just about is halfway up, I guess. That the net pot will sit down almost to that black line, but you want a space below the net pot for the roots to get air, and that space will continue to grow as they take up and use the nutrients. And I'll show you the amounts that I'm going to be using in just a moment. When I first bought this system, it came with It's a hypodermic syringe without a needle to use for measuring the amounts of these nutrients to go in the system, and that works very well. I have a couple of them, I guess. So we'll add the nutrients and move on. Well, the mixture that I'm using is for leafy vegetables, such as what I'm growing here, the arugula and lettuce, and also the parsley. So it calls for 12 milliliters of the micro grow, the green one, per gallon of water, and I have 2.5 gallons, so that's 30 milliliters. I don't want to say millimeters, but milliliters in this much liquid. So I won't make you watch me do all of them, but that's the first 10 milliliters there, and I've got 20 more to go. Okay, for the Flora Bloom, it is 3 milliliters per gallon. I have 2.5 gallons, so that is 7.5 milliliters of the sort of pink solution. The darkest of the solutions is the micro, Flora Micro, and you add the same amount of that as we did for the first one, the Flora Grow, with the 2.5 gallons of water. I add 30 milliliters, so that's 3 of these 10 milliliter syringes full. It's going to color the water up pretty well. I'll bring you back when I have finished that. Well, that's a very colorful liquid now. Unfortunately, I have to wait 24 hours before I can transplant the little seedlings into the neti pots. And the reason for that is the clay balls that you use in lieu of soil, they have to hydrate for 24 hours in water, so that will give the nutrients in here a chance to settle down and get mixed in, I guess. In the meantime, let's go talk about some of the plans for the garden this summer. And I will bring you back at the end of the video to pot up the little seedlings and put them in the cracky system here. I would like to have a small hydroponics system outside. Most of these things, including the one that I think I'm going to go with, are designed for use in the house. The one that I'm going to go with has, I think, 30 gallons of solution water in it, and all of my floors in the house are laminate flooring. 30 gallons of water doesn't go well with laminate flooring, so mine is going to be summertime use only outside. I started by looking at these kits online. This is just an example of one of them. There are many different designs. They all seem to be made in China. Not that that necessarily makes them bad, but they're not really, well, they're not being dishonest, but you look at that and you'd think, well, that's 4-inch PVC pipe. And, you know, the spacing is probably pretty good because PVC pipe is 10 feet long and whatever. Well, it isn't 4-inch PVC pipe. It's something, as near as I can tell, it's only available in China. It's 2-inch. The holes are too close together. And there's many other complaints. But anytime I looked at the comments that were on the thing from people that have bought it, there are very few favorable comments, including once you get it together it leaks like I don't know what, but you could solve that with PVC glue. As far as I was concerned, that wouldn't be an issue. But the little 2-inch pipe is useless. You'd have to it would fill the pipe full of the root system in no time. You need a larger pipe, and the holes on these are quite small, and they need to be larger and spaced further apart. So I have decided to go with my own, make my own, that is, and I'll show you the design that I think I'm going to go with here. This is a sketch of the one that I think I'm going to build. The red part there is 2 sawhorses to put it on. I just happen to have 2 rickety old sawhorses that I can put it on. And it's made out of regular PVC pipe, 4-inch PVC pipe. The instructions, that come with this one are excellent. I had another one selected to build, not too terribly different than this, but I was having great difficulty understanding the instructions. I would read it and reread it and think I knew what I was talking about, and then I'd change my mind again. Well, the instructions, materials required, and everything that come with this particular model are excellent. Time will tell if I can build it excellently or not. I think if you look off to the right there, those two little orange things, I think those are air pumps, and you put air stones. It looks like they go inside the PVC pipe. I haven't read the instructions in that much detail. I'm going to eliminate that. I'm going with a cracky system for outside. Hopefully that doesn't change things too much, but I plan to eliminate that, I guess. And there's the green tank with the blue water in it there has a submersible pump in it that pumps the nutrient around. This is a very simple system and doesn't appear to be too terribly complicated to build, so that's what I'm going to do. For anyone who's interested or just wants to know more about it or might want to build your own, I'll put a link to this set of plans below this video. Big changes coming in the greenhouse. I'm going to take out most of the raised beds. Plans right now are to leave one of the raised beds, but in a short time here I'll take you out and do a bit of video clip inside the greenhouse to explain more why I'm doing that. But I'm going to replace the raised beds with these planters. They are 3 feet wide and 6 feet long. Well, as you can see, 8 compartments in each one. So it's sort of like square foot gardening, only the compartments are bigger than 2 square feet. And they're made out of the same sort of thing that the other kinds of grow pots that I have used. They're made out of that felt-like fabric. So I'm quite excited about giving these a try. I've got a lot of work to do in the greenhouse before I can first plant in them, and that'll have to wait till spring because I'm sure the ground in there is frozen solid right now. But let's go out and I'll show you what it is that I'm talking about. Well, I'm videoing this with my phone, so I can't get a very wide angle shot here, but that small bed there against the wall, that's coming out. This one that has got my various trees healed into it for the winter, that's coming out, and the one next to it here is also going to come out. Plans are to leave that one. Whether I change the plans later on or not, I don't know. There's a possibility of a small farmer's market happening here next summer, and if so, I'd like to participate. There's a Facebook group that was started by a young man here last year. It's very, very successful for local farmers and people with livestock, whatever. I say farmers, there aren't any real farms here. It's just people like me that like to garden and whatever. So anyway, if I do participate in this thing, if it does get off the ground, I'm saving that bed there. I think I will grow European gherkins in it. I think the item that I would like to take to the fair is cucumbers. A lot of home canners here that do pickles and relishes and whatever, and I think cucumbers would be popular. So there's that out of the way. The reason why I am removing the beds, can you see there? When this was built, the beds were built in here 8 or 9 years ago, whenever that was. There was never a great deal of space, but there was a foot of more between each bed, and you could walk down through it carefully. Over the years, the winters and the frost have bowed the beds out. I know there are ways that I could solve that problem. I realize that I could move the soil over and put something down in between there to push them further apart once the soil is out of the way. But it's just something that will keep reoccurring. and I think I really want to get rid of it. Mainly because I end up walking on top of them. I can't get down in between there most of the time. There isn't room for my foot. And last summer, walking on it, I had these things, if you can see that. I just picked this one up and stuck it in the soil. These curly-Q heavy steel things for growing tomato plants up. I like them very much. They work very well. But every time I was walking down this bed and walking by 5 or 6 of those, I kept thinking, all I've got to do is slip once and I'll impale myself on that and that'll be the end of me. It's become a safety issue. So I have bought 6 of those planters so far. 3 have arrived. They bought them all from Amazon, but they filled the order from 2 different Amazon fulfillment centers, one further away, so I suspect the other 3 will arrive in another day or 2. And rather than going long lengthways like these beds are, they will go across. The length of them will be going across this way, so that I have room to walk around each one and room to walk between them, if that makes sense to you. That's what I plan to do. Both of these beds have a grapevine in the back end of them. That's the beta grapevine there. I managed to get them pruned this year before spring. And this is just a numbered one. It didn't have a name on it yet, and it's supposed to be a green dessert grape. And I don't wish to disturb either one of those, so I will box off a couple of feet on each one of these beds, and to leave it for the grapevine. If you've ever been to England, to Hampton Court, where the grapevine grows, was given to Henry VIII by a king of France. I'm not sure which Louis that was. But it has grown from that date until now in a large greenhouse at Hampton Court. And when you're there, you step outside of the greenhouse. There's a large area with not even a weed in it, just beautiful brown soil, and a sign in the middle of it that says the roots of the grapevine are in this area. Well, the same thing happens here. There's no foundation around this, and these are both planted at the back, well, intentionally, somewhere to grow them up the wall. But their root system are mostly outside. But nevertheless, I want to have at least a small undisturbed area inside for them, so that will be boxed off with part of the wood that I remove. So I hope that explains what I'm doing with those fancy planters. Leave any comments on that you feel like leaving. And now let's get the little seedlings in the net pots in my new cracky system. Well, the little clay balls have been soaking in water for 24 hours. This little watering can I just filled with solution out of the container here, because until the root systems get long enough to get down into the nutrient solution, I guess we cut this here, they will need to be kept moist, so I thought it would be a good idea to keep them moist with the actual nutrient solution that they're going to be growing in. I'm using one of these rock wool cubes. I keep meaning to Google and find out what rock wool actually is. But it's what you use for as like a thing to start the seeds in, or one of the things. I guess now they use something called a sponge. I'm not quite sure, if it's actually a sponge or not, because I don't think roots will go out through an actual sponge. But at any rate, I'm going to put some of the clay balls in the bottom of each cup and use this as a guide, because I would like the actual thing to actually end up being quite level with the top here. So when I put the ones in that have got the plants in, I guess is what I'm trying to say. I think by the looks of things I'm going to have lots of the clay balls left over, used for a future project. I've got to buy a big bag of them if I build that system to use this summer outside anyway, so add that to the add that, I guess, to the mix when it comes time. There. Now I'm going to collect my seedlings. I'll be right back. Well, the arugula, as I've shown before, has got little roots already, so hopefully it won't be too long coming down into the solution. And I set these down in dirt, so I can't really tell you. Yes, there's a root coming out of that lettuce plant. At least I hope the root that I'm seeing is from the one that's growing there, because I did have several seedlings and I cut them all off and left one, so the root that I'm seeing might be from a plant that I already cut off. And oops, that one's a little lower. So far I don't see anything coming out through the parsley. Well, let's see what we can do here. I won't make you sit there and watch me do this to all 6 of them. I'll bring you back and show you what it looks like when I finish. But the idea is just to use these clay balls to support the rock wool cube. So I'll show you the finished product in just a minute. Well, there we are. It's all set up and ready to go, I guess. Nothing, I didn't put any extra nutrient in the blocks yet. They're still quite wet from coming out of the container that they were in, so I'll keep an eye on that. As they dry out, I will add some of the nutrient to keep them from going too dry. And I guess that's it. We'll finish this little video and upload it. Hopefully the next time I show you an update, I will also have ordered some seeds and be able to talk about some of the things that I plan to grow in the garden this year. But I'm still waiting to receive a couple of the seed catalogs. Well, I guess one's a seed catalog, an online seed catalog from Annapolis Seeds in Nova Scotia. They always put theirs out, well, right around now, I guess sometime before the end of January. So now most of the seed catalogs tend to come out way before Christmas. And another one isn't actually a seed catalog, it's plants from a company here in New Brunswick. And once those two arrive, I will be thinking more directly about what I'm going to order for this year. So thank you very much for watching, and stay tuned for updates on the cracky hydroponic system here.